What's up, family, and welcome back to another video. I have a special guest for you. His name is Karl Pierre, and this man has a lot of knowledge about Medellin, Colombia. He's a businessman also. He owns businesses in Medellin, also in the States and different places. And I was very honored to have him on my show to share his knowledge because this man has a lot of wisdom that he wants to share with you about escaping, the troubles that tourists and foreigners actually experience when they're in Medellin, Colombia. So I feel I'm privileged to have this man on my show tonight. And make sure you go to the description and make sure that you like and well, I'm sorry. Make sure you subscribe to his channel and make sure you subscribe to his Instagram also because he has a lot of information on Instagram. So I'm gonna put both links in the description. And I hope you enjoy this show and make sure you give this video a hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. And I really appreciate it because my goal is to really bring, very good content to this channel. You know what I'm saying? I hope to be able to post things up here that you can use and that can keep you safe because we want to be able to travel safely, return home safely, so make sure you help support this channel by hitting that like button, subscribe. And so also, don't forget to go on to the description and subscribe to Karl Pierre's YouTube channel because he does have a channel too, and he does have an Instagram page also. Okay, I hope you enjoy this channel, and if you have any questions, leave it in the comment section. Thank you. All right, so how you doing today, Karl? You doing okay?
Yeah, me, I'm always doing pretty okay. Just
good.
In the middle of the workday and here in Medellin, Colombia at the moment. Just
okay.
Trying to enjoy the holiday as much as I can.
Okay. Everybody, I got a guest here. His name is Karl, and he's going to tell us a little bit of things about Medellin, and he's there right now. Man, you are lucky to be in Medellin right now. I wish I was there with you.
Yeah, no, it's pretty dope.
It's very freezing. It's like it's very cold here in Detroit. That's where I am right now.
Yeah, I've heard.
It's the weather is just completely like crazy, like 0 degrees. I mean, I think about when I wake up every day, I say, God, I got to get back to Medellin.
Yeah. Well, what's holding you back?
Well, my everything's very expensive. Inflation. I can't travel much like I used to. So I'm getting it together as we speak, trying to get my money together so I can go back and do content as soon as possible. I was there about 2 months ago. And when I was there in Medellin, when I was doing grocery shopping, because I stayed at a hotel and I do most of my grocery shopping have you heard of Jumbos before? It's in the Santa Fe area called Jumbos. But the groceries there was very expensive. They were very, very expensive. So I noticed that the price of everything has went up there the last time I was there in Medellin. So I got to have a little bit more money to go when I go back this time.
Cool.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. What do you think that's causing this problem with gringos, people going over to Medellin, they're getting themselves in trouble? What do you think was going on?
I think what's going on is that it's just an economic opportunity. The pandemic really had its effect on the travel industry here.
Okay.
And, they were pretty much shut down almost entirely for a year, and like not letting foreigners in, traveling pretty much ceased up. I used to have a 6-unit Airbnb out here. I had to close that down. So I think with that economic pressure, people got a little bit desperate. So, those scopamine events weren't happening. I first started coming down here in 2016.
Okay.
December 2016.
Okay.
And I didn't hear of anybody getting drugged. This wasn't really an issue. And it seems like after the pandemic is when these sort of events started happening more, or at least getting covered more frequently, that it came to my attention.
Okay.
So I think it's just the byproducts of economic hardship, and it now being the crime of choice for young women, I would say.
Okay. Okay. The crime of choice. So what would you tell my subscribers, like, how can it be a little bit like more safer or something like that? Like, is Tinder, would that be a wise thing to do? Because I've heard that um, a lot of gringos are getting on Tinder and they invite the girls over, and that's when it happens.
Yeah, I think Tinder is going to be the gateway to the setup.
Okay.
The reality is, like, Tinder was heavily used here to kind of sell services,
Okay.
not really so much as a dating app. And it seems that, men are coming down here, hopping on Tinder and trying to meet girls, either pay for play or for
Okay.
free. And the thing is, with Tinder, when you're using Tinder on a regular basis, the match ratio is pretty low, right? That's just how it is for men in general.
Okay.
Men are going to be more willing to kind of swipe right. Women are going to be more willing to swipe left.
Okay.
So the setup seems to start with, hey, there's this guy who's clearly a foreigner.
Okay.
Swiping right on, any good-looking woman that's on there.
Gotcha.
And it then opens the door for the potential of, kind of getting got by one of these girls, because they know that you're here for a short term.
Okay.
They know that you're not a local. They know that you may not be familiar. And if you're trying to pick up women on Tinder, then you probably don't have a girlfriend locally or kind of your own arrangement. So you're new and naive, and you're a foreigner.
Okay.
So that means that you came with money. You might have come with a computer. You most likely have an iPhone or, a higher end phone. You have everything that makes you an easy score, and it's quite easy to identify you. So men, the fact that they're actually connecting with women, and, oh, this woman's interested in me and she's not asking for money, really puts them in a very gullible, easy to take advantage of position.
Okay.
The way that it happened with someone that I know is that he was actually looking to meet a non-working girl. And there was a girl, she went by, Lena.
Okay.
She's still on there too, actually.
She's still on Tinder?
Yeah, she's still on Tinder. He reported her to the police, but she's still on there. And he came across her. She spoke some English. They chatted it up for a little bit.
Okay.
And she was like, yeah, I just want to hang out, watch a movie, no pressure. I just want to drink some wine, etc. And he doesn't drink. He's not a big drinker.
Okay.
But he created this environment so she could be comfortable and hang out with him.
Okay.
She comes over. They start drinking. Lights out. Right? Of course, he wakes up. His credit card is taken. His debit card is taken. His computer is taken. His cameras, his phone, anything that seemed to have some value, taken.
Okay.
So what happened there? He's not a naive person. He's a person who travels frequently, but he left the door open because he exposed everything. He's a foreigner here for a short time, looking for an English speaker, so he doesn't even know the language. He's pretty green from what she could see, and he's vulnerable because he's viewing me as a normal girl who just wants to hang out with him.
Okay.
Rather than, oh, she's a worker, I need to be careful. Let me put my things in the safe. Let me kind of secure my goods. No, it's just a normal day. Now, I've seen this happen to somebody else where they actually met someone, went to meet at like a daytime meet, like a coffee shop.
Okay.
She invited him back over to her place, offered him a drink, robbed him at that point. So it was, same thing, set up and seems like a normal dating situation, thinking that you're meeting a normal girl. And the entire time she knows that you're a foreigner, and you're going to be susceptible to just the basic bait and switch of hang out with me, but I'm here to rob you.
Okay.
So, and the thing is once they drug you, you're basically knocked out. And also from what I understand, there's like a gullible phase when you're drugged on scopolamine.
Okay, yes.
So it's like almost like a truth serum. So as you're kind of fading,
right,
you're giving up your PIN codes, you're giving up the logins to your email, the login to your phone. You're just kind of going along with it. And then at some point you knock out. And the worst part about it is, these girls aren't weighing their victims. They're not saying, okay, this person is 5'7", 160 pounds. He should be dosed with two micrograms or whatever.
Yeah.
No, they're like, hey, I'm gonna get as much of this drug into this guy's drink as possible so that it takes effect as soon as possible. And that's why they're overdosing people. I don't think it's their intention to kill anybody, but they're not really smart enough or care enough to say, hey, let me dose this person appropriately,
right,
so that I don't kill this person, but I get what I'm looking for.
Right.
Because what if that person only drinks half of the beer and you dosed the beer for like the full 12 ounces of it?
Right.
So if they only drink half of it, it's only going to be half as effective, and then you wasted your opportunity. So they're overdosing people by literally like not taking those things into consideration. But I would say the first way to avoid getting got with scopolamine is definitely staying off of Tinder, because you are really showing yourself at that point that you're a victim. Everything about you is screaming, rob me, for that predator, right? Okay. If it were a normal environment where people were actually dating and that wasn't the culture there, then yeah, of course you could use Tinder to potentially hook up or meet somebody or get to know people. But here right now, that is one of their go-tos for finding victims.
Okay. And I remember that you said in one of your videos, I want to explain it. You said you had, I remember you said there was a friend that was, she offered him some wine or something like that. And I remember that you were saying that he was very kind of suspicious, and I noticed that sometimes guys, when these girls keep offering them, something to drink, usually that's a red flag right there. And I remember that you said something that he felt that she maybe was trying to drug him or something like that. I think it was a glass, I think it was wine that they was drinking, and then he almost at the end, he ended up drinking it anyway. She ended up scoping him. So why do you think these guys, they got this thing that they feel that they don't want to offend the woman, so then they go ahead and drink it anyway?
No, man, because how many good nights start with you hanging out with a lady, having a couple of drinks, right?
Right.
It's not, it means things are going in the right direction usually, right? So
right.
If the thing is that they've already gotten comfortable with the setup. Oh, this girl's in college. She knows how to speak English. She's not trying to charge me for the interaction. She's trustworthy. So they put their guard down a bit. Oh, now she's in my apartment. Now she's offering me a drink. She's friendly. All right, I'll take a sip or whatever. But and they don't realize. I don't know what the dosing amount really is. Right. But I don't think they realize. Even if they're casual, he was casually drinking the wine just to appease her. So he was like, I don't even think I had more than half a glass, and I was done. So it wasn't and she kept drinking. So she's drinking more, and she's trying to encourage him to drink. And then she's giving him physical contact. So, I'm a man, I'm kind of simple. A woman can seduce me quite easily, right? Personally.
Okay.
So you have an attractive woman in your place.
Yes.
Flirtatious.
Yes.
You've been talking on Tinder for a few days to maybe even months. So yeah, all your defenses are down.
Right.
And now you're thinking with your other head, and unfortunately, at that point, you're done. If that person's in your apartment looking to drug you and rob you, you're almost certainly going to get got. It's almost a guarantee, because what, you're not going to drink water, you're not going to let her near you. What are you going to do? Like, right? Like,
right.
You're also trying to establish trust with that person to take it to another level.
Right.
So if you say, hey, you got to stand across the room and we're going to talk from here. Oh, this conversation went well. What's going to happen the next time?
Right.
Oh, you're going to go out for drinks?
Right.
Or
right.
you're going to drink the next time? And then you're going to get robbed. So if that person really wants to rob you, once you've invited them in or near you, you're going to get victimized.
Right.
Because that's the intention.
Okay. One more thing. What would you suggest to be maybe the safest way to prevent from, because it's like you don't know, because I'm gonna be honest with you, my whole time in Medellin, I was on pins and needles every time a girl came and visit me. But the main thing is that I did stay at a hotel. One thing about the hotels, they kind of look out for you. You know what I'm saying? They kind of protect you, because
yeah, I seen a video of yours where there was a girl who came with a friend.
Yeah.
And the hotel, the host, he was like, nah. He was like, this is not going. He was like, nah, this is not going down like this.
Yeah.
And then a guy might be thinking, oh, this is really about to go down really nicely, right?
right.
So already you're like off, and one girl is prepping the drinks, the other one is distracting you, and then you're toast. So I think
so that was pretty dangerous. So actually, it's dangerous to bring two girls into your room. Basically.
Listen, when does that happen, man? That's like, it's so like. I think the best thing that somebody could do to protect themselves from a scopolamine attack or a scopolamine hit, is just be realistic with yourself. It's like, where else in the world would this happen to me? I meet this 9 or 10 on Tinder.
Mm-hmm.
She's totally interested in me.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to hang out at my place. And she's comfortable with that. Like, how frequently does that happen to you in life?
Right.
Almost never. Right. So that's the first red flag. Like, hey, like I'm not that sexy. This shouldn't be happening, right? I'm not, well, I am well off, but I'm not like a celebrity or somebody that women should be throwing themselves at. So why is this happening, right? This doesn't make sense, right? That should be the first red flag.
Okay.
But a lot of men come here to hook up with women, right? They come to pay to play. They come to enjoy that culture, and if that's you, that's totally fine. But again, you need to at least have some sense. It's just like, there's levels to working girls, right?
Okay.
You have your streetwalker. I feel like the streetwalker is the lowest level.
Okay.
The reason the streetwalker is the lowest level is because she's not attached to any establishment. No one knows her identity. And she actually doesn't even care to be spotted in public as a working girl. Most women are a little more conservative and saying, hey, I don't want my family to know. Like, it's almost like the street corner dealer. They're like, I'm selling drugs on the corner. Everybody knows it, and I don't care. Right? So already you're dealing with somebody, like, prostitution's legal here, but you're really dealing with somebody who has, a somewhat skewed value set.
Right.
Okay. And I'm not knocking any street walkers.
Right.
Maybe 75% of them or 50% of them are honest, just trying to exchange and do their thing.
Yes.
But I feel like that already is one of the red flags. And if you're here hanging out in Parque Yeris, that's where they are. And that's where the tourists go. So it's like, you're wearing like a get me beacon on your head, because you're clearly a tourist. You're picking up a streetwalker. You're in the red zone. Like, that's going to increase the probability. Okay. So if you're gonna kind of work with working girls or date working girls, there's agencies, there's formal brothels, there's meeting points that those things are managed better, and that person is like held to the standard of the organization that's managing them. So they can't if they get caught robbing and doing these sort of things, that hurts the reputation of the establishment, and they don't want those people. Like there's some sort of screening that's happening there. So
right,
like if you're looking for that, there's just safer and better ways to go about it.
Okay.
Right? It's like I think you just have to kind of apply some common sense.
Okay.
And not, let your lower half do the thinking. I think that's like the safest way to go about it.
Okay.
And then, the other day, like I have a pretty good following here in Colombia because I do talk about Colombia.
Okay.
I met a guy and he was like, hey, I was curious, how do I meet normal women? And I was like, well, you have to meet normal women in kind of normal places. And what do normal women want? Normal women want to establish a connection and relationship. Okay. So if you don't speak the language, you don't know the culture, where are you actually establishing a relationship, and how are you establishing a relationship? I was like, if you can't have a conversation about politics, about movies, about art, about things that people are commonly in, sports or whatever your common interests are, how do you think you're going to ever form a relationship with somebody? And if they're willing to form a relationship with you without ever establishing common ground, then they're really not into you because you've never shared anything about you. They don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
So I was like, so you need to know the language that's going to help you.
Absolutely.
And meet women in environments that aren't bars, nightclubs, strip clubs, or, picking up a girl at 11 p.m.
That's another one.
Like
yeah.
And I think you'll be fine. So I think if I were to kind of give anybody advice, like, hey, you're coming here, you want to meet girls, there's plenty of beautiful women here, plenty of normal beautiful women, working, stand-up, honest, beautiful women. If you want to meet either of those two, stay off of Tinder.
Yes.
Don't pick up any streetwalkers. Apply common sense. If that girl just seems too interested in you and this doesn't happen anywhere else in the world, don't think that your US dollar and your swag is what's doing it, because it's not the case, right? Because if you left that zone and you tried to pick up a waitress not speaking the language or whatever, she'd shut you down, because it's like, what are we gonna, even if I thought you were cute, what am I gonna do with you later?
Right.
We're gonna talk? No, you can't even put together a sentence. Like you could never date somebody like that. And I think guys somehow missed the mark, and that's what's leading to these sort of things. And of course, the bad news travels the furthest.
Right.
So there's tons of people who are coming here, having wonderful interactions, meeting local women, dating, having a normal life. But I think it starts with at least knowing the language and avoiding Tinder and streetwalkers.
Right. But I'm asking you a couple more questions. I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate your time. The part that's that really made me a little nervous too is that now I'm hearing that guys that actually been in Colombia for a long time, like the Medellin guru, the older guy, they found him in his apartment, overdosed of scopolamine. Then there was another older guy these are actually expats are actually getting got. These well-experienced people, what I'm saying, not the ones that just come down for the weekend, picking girls off the street or anything like that. So I guess it's sort of getting to the point who you trust and who you don't trust. And I've heard stories, guys have told me that they were dating a girl. I heard stories of guys dating women for months, and taking them on vacation, and then they end up getting drugs. So how can you really know the bad ones from the good ones? You don't have to go too far. I don't want to keep you too much longer.
Come on, no, yeah, we're booked for an hour.
Okay.
So all right, there's so much wrong with all right. So you have guys who are Medellin gurus.
Yeah,
right?
It's been there for years.
Right. And I could say I fall into that category because I cover the topic.
Right.
I'm giving advice on it, and I get stopped in the airports, on the streets. People recognize me here.
Okay.
So I'm married, right?
Okay.
if you're a Medellin guru or someone who's here, and the main thing that you're doing here is consistently meeting new women, then how are you doing that? Right?
Okay. Okay.
Where are you going?
Mhm.
You're going to the usual spots, nightclubs, Tinder, dating apps, hitting on any random girl on the street. Like, if you were seriously involved with somebody or dating in a normal way, like
Mhm.
you're not going to be dating a girl for 4 months, traveling with her,
Mhm.
and then she robs you, right? Because you've been dating for 4 months, you
Mhm.
take her out, you have fun, you go out to dinner,
Right.
you took her on vacation,
Mhm.
like, and then she robs you. That doesn't make
Yes.
any sense, because now she just destroyed the relationship,
Right.
right? Because like there's probably more that she could gain than your cell phone and a few $1,000s or whatever she could withdraw from your bank account. Like,
Right.
that doesn't make any sense. So
Mhm.
what sounds like what happened there most likely was, I met this girl who was working,
Mhm.
and I somehow effed it up, right?
Okay.
And this was a more of a revenge tactic, because I met her, she was working, I slept with her friend too. I got busted doing this.
Okay.
And
So they catch you into something.
yeah, they catch you into something.
Mhm.
Now it's like, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do, right? Because if she was about that, she would have done that from day one,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And if you had a well-established relationship and she was on hard times, you probably would be okay with helping her out. So how did the relationship devolve so much that she went from being worthy of your time and attention, a vacation, blah 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 blah, and then now she's drugging you? Like, that just doesn't line up. I mean, her morality was either screwed to begin with, and the way that you met was
Right.
off. And so, I would say that's probably more. There's more to that story than is being presented,
Okay.
and more to their lifestyle that is not being shared, right?
Right.
So I think those sort of things matter. But if you're in a relate, like, did you meet in a normal relationship?
Mhm.
What happens? Okay, there's some sort of initial attraction.
Mhm.
There's a courting period where you get to know each other and etc. Then that relationship starts to evolve. You start to meet each other's friends, family starts to get involved. That's like
Okay.
the progression of a relationship.
Right.
So, I think anybody who kind of gets, like, I'm not victim blaming, because of course these people are despicable, but I think there's ways that you can safeguard against that. Just like you wouldn't go into certain neighborhoods flashing certain things anywhere in the world, right? Because that would make you a target for getting robbed.
Right.
So it's kind of the same thing. It's like, in this scenario, the criminal is a young, attractive woman preying on you for being a somewhat typical man,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Right.
you're not hearing about a bunch of local Colombians getting scoped up,
Mhm.
right? It happens.
Right. It does. Yeah.
It happens in nightclubs.
Mhm.
This and the sad reality is, men have been doing this to women for years too,
Right.
right?
Colombian has been.
Except we're not taking their currency. We're taking their innocence in ways. We're taking their pride from. We're taking, like, men have been doing this for years.
Mhm.
The only difference is now they're the target, at least in this particular environment. So I think as long as you try to, like, it's very rare that, like, you're not hearing about people going to the burger joint and getting scoped by the waitress.
Okay.
No, it's
Okay.
I was, kind of pursuing this girl that was probably out of my league. I was a little naive about it, and she got me.
Mhm.
Right? That's usually the setup. Or
Yeah.
I was picking up, working girls, and the working girl got me.
Mhm.
Right? And that's even wrong, because at least that's supposed to be a direct exchange.
Right.
But again, it's like, you could kind of expect that to, like, you could expect that to happen with a greater probability with a working girl than with a normal girl, right?
Yeah.
The same reason why men who pick up, girls like that, their first move is secure their items in the safe, right? Because it's like, if I fall asleep, she might snatch my watch, or she might take my cell phone or something like that. So if you're competent enough to take that preventative measure, then you just have to adjust to, the unfortunate reality of what's going on now. I wish there was a way that they could crack down on it, because it's really hurting, the brand of the city. And
I could tell you the reason why they're not doing, from other Colombians, this is what Colombians told me. They say the ones that come over there for sex tourism, the Colombians call it trash tourism. And they say they do not want those type of people in their country. They actually told me this, and they say that. So when I'm here, that's the reason why the law enforcement and the government, far as maybe the mayors and stuff, is not really acting on it, because they're trying to wean out the bad ones. Because in one of my interviews with Anita, she said that some of these tours, it's like she said, Colombia has much more to offer. You know what I'm saying? They got the coffee, they got the, what else she was telling me about? You can go to the tours, you can go to the the plantations and things. She said those are the type of tours that they're looking for. So, and I think another thing that's really getting people hurt is that you got some of these channels that's out here promoting sex tourism in Colombia. Matter of fact, it was so bad. I'm not gonna say who they are, but it was a Facebook groups. They would I call them like red pill guys, whatever you want to call them. They would actually post explicit pictures of Colombian working girls on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I contacted the moderators. I say, what are you doing? Why are you putting this stuff on social media? Do you know that the Colombians actually watch social media and actually watch this stuff? And they told me when I was in Medellin, it's like they frown on that type of stuff, and they don't want those type of tourists here. So that's why they really never do nothing about it.
Yeah, because it's not really a Colombian issue, right? It's not
right.
No, like I knew one guy, not like one of my colleagues here. His neighbor got drugged, right?
Okay.
Colombian guy, he was at a bar. He got drugged, and they brought him back to his apartment and robbed him, and that was that. So, again, that's certain things happen in nightclubs that won't happen, at a coffee shop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if a woman told you, I got drugged at a nightclub that is known for raves and ecstasy use and whatever, and I got robbed and raped, it would be like, yeah, that's exactly the setting that it happens, right? So it's kind of like, if you really want to avoid that, then that's it. But a lot of people are coming for the potential of meeting women.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of attractive women here. And there's a lot of attractive, honest women here. So if you want to date and you're kind of looking for more out of life, then yeah, it's going to be attractive in that way. And if you're striking out, you could always pay for some, right? So that's the allure here. But like I said, I live near the Poblado area. Okay. And I go out with my wife, we go to dinner, we drink, you see you see that the locals are there, right, doing the same thing. Okay. And there's also tourists that are negotiating with prostitutes right at the next table, right? Wow. That's totally kind of normal here. But what happens is that, like, this happened with me, and like we had a holiday party. Yes. And I have some attractive women on my staff. My wife, I believe, is attractive. We're all out.
Is she Colombian too, your wife?
She's from Venezuela.
Venezuela. Oh wow, beautiful. Yes,
She's from
yes, yes.
Venezuela, and
Okay.
we actually met in the United States.
Oh
So
wow, wow,
yeah,
wow. Okay.
so
That's great. Great.
yeah, but it's yeah, kind of worked out that way.
Okay.
But yeah, so we're all out, and this tourist, gringo tourist,
Okay.
approaches one of my employees and is like, "Hey," and she's like, "Hello," and she's just, she's wearing short skirt. We're going from the dinner spot to the nightclub, so we're dressed for that. So she looked attractive,
Okay.
and he was like, "I bet you'd marry me for a visa." He said something ridiculous like that, and I heard it, and I was like, what are you talking? And it was just like, why? It's because in his mind, he's there to pick up girls who are potentially working. And imagine if that was my wife he said that to.
Oh boy.
Right? Or so these are why the Colombians are having an issue.
Right. That's it. That's what I'm saying. Right. Yeah.
Right? Because like you might be walking hand in hand with your girl, or maybe she's standing waiting for you to meet her to grab a drink.
Right.
And some dude is propositioning her in her neighborhood, and she's just trying to have a nice time.
Right. Right.
So it's like, oh, because I'm an attractive woman standing here in the restaurant zone, you think I'm working? And when I tell you I'm not working, you tell me, yeah, right. I'm sure for an extra, 500,000 pesos, you do whatever I want. So you mean like,
right.
So of course, if you live here and you're seeing that and experiencing that, you're gonna be like, man, I don't want these type of tourists around.
Right.
When they get robbed and drugged, you're like, there you go, you got what you were looking for. So that's kind of what's happening. Right. And I guess that lends to why the police may not be doing anything about it. Right. Plus, cops don't really want to. It's gonna sound kind of effed up, but most cops are just doing a job. I mean, they don't care how many arrests they make. They're not trying to be a super cop.
Right, right.
So you got robbed here, you didn't die. You go back home, the problem goes away. I don't have to follow this case beyond that, right? What's the point? So I think that's what's going on, man. But ultimately, this is a country I really love.
Beautiful country.
Yeah, it's a beautiful country, yes. Beautiful people.
Yes.
You could avoid getting yourself in trouble by just kind of following those steps. Like if you want to meet women, try to meet them in regular settings before 9 p.m. That would be, because like you're not going to find Colombian girls hanging out alone really anywhere over here. Right? Like that's not going to happen because they might get robbed. Like they'll be the victim of petty crime, that someone steals their pocketbook, steals their cell phone or something like that.
Right.
So they're not going to just be cruising around looking to grab a drink alone. They're going to either be in a group of friends,
right,
at a very like local type of spot, right, where things are more affordable, and they feel at home. The music is their music, etc. So you like, and beyond like 9-10 o'clock, they're not going to really be out like that. Right? So especially in the Parque Aires area, unless they're on a date or something with their partner.
Right.
So if you're going to try to meet a woman, I would say like, you try to go put yourself in environments, go on some of the excursions, go on some of the tours.
Yes.
Go to some of the neighboring towns.
Right.
During the day, meet people. Yes. Maybe the tour guide speaks English and you hit it off with her.
Right. Yeah.
She's a normal person that's not trying to drug you. She's
right.
Trying to make a living. So if you're like, hey, I want to come down there and I heard that I could maybe find a future wife there or something, whatever you're looking for, just apply that common sense. And I think that reduces the risk greatly. If you start, dabbling on Tinder, you're just raising the probability of getting robbed.
Yes. And I'm gonna tell you something. As a medical professional, I told you that's what I do. I work in medicine. I work in a university hospital here in Michigan. Okay. Me personally, I remember back in 2015, because I work in a trauma center too. So when things, come through the ER or something like that, they need me, they would page me and I would have to go, And one thing I noticed in 2015, heroin has been around for a very long time. Okay. But we noticed something around 2014, 2015. It's like the overdose was like just spiked really high. People were dying. You know what I'm saying? Like lots of people was dying over, taking, heroin addicts was dying over heroin. But eventually, what we found out is that they were mixing it with fentanyl.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. There are more people dying in Medellin. Gringos are dying from overdose of scopolamine. Me personally, I don't have proof, but I think they could be mixing it with fentanyl because I know sometimes there's another drug you have to be careful in Medellin that's very addictive. It's called Tootsie. They call it the pink cocaine.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, one of the guys at the hotel that worked there, they told me about it. Did you see my video about the extortion thing too? That was wild, wasn't
I
it?
didn't see that one.
Yeah, I was a victim of extortion in Colombia. I mean, the girl, it was a nice girl I met on Facebook, and everything started. Those were the two girls that came to the hotel that you see me with. When the guy told me you only can bring one,
Okay.
it was Jessica. The one called her name was Jessica.
So you ended up getting extorted by that girl, even
One of the
though
girls, yeah, one of the girls.
you
So
see that
you gotta see that video, man.
Yeah, you were getting targeted from the beginning, right? You were getting targeted from the beginning, whether they were going to scope you or pull the extortion bit on you.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to go down regardless, one way or another. And you know, it's unfortunate because the thing is, in an effort to make a connection with a person,
Mm-hmm.
you have to lower your guard. So that's like some guys just want to be loved and liked,
Mm-hmm.
and instead they're losing their life.
Yeah.
It's
They lose their
really
life.
sad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even like, oh man, I was trying to rip and run and I got drugged in the process, so I'm just a casualty of war here.
Mm-hmm.
But some guys are trying to actually form true intimate connections with people,
Right.
and the end result is getting robbed or getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
But you might be right that they might be cutting fentanyl into things.
I think they are because actually the death rate is much. From my connections in Colombia, from the EMS and people, there are more gringos are dying more every month down there, but that you just never hear about. The ones that's reported is very little, but the actual numbers are much higher. That's what makes this thing really scary.
Yeah, I think, and you know what, it also could be like, a lot of people come down here. The thing about Medellin, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
is that it's gonna attract the sex tourist.
Yes.
It's gonna attract the drug user,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and oftentimes they're the same character.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you got, let's just say, like cocaine is so cheap here, there's probably no reason to cut it with fentanyl, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of like, it's so cheap. There's no reason to kind of cut it with anything.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I think it might just be, could it be getting cut with fentanyl? Who knows? Probably, maybe.
Right.
But I really do think that the type of woman who's gonna do that to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you have to guess that her education level is not that high.
No, it's not.
Right?
Right.
So the thought of dosing it's not even a thought, or comorbidities for
Right.
a negative reaction to anesthetics. They're not thinking about these things.
Right.
Right? So I think what's happening is that they're overdosing people accidentally,
Mm-hmm.
hoping for more effect, that it's more effective, and
Mm-hmm.
not really knowing or believing that
Right.
they could kill somebody with it.
Right. They don't really
Likely.
they don't really know how dangerous scopolamine is because actually scopolamine can be bought in a pharmacy at 1.5 milligrams. What scopolamine actually does, it works on the central nervous system of the brain. That's what scopolamine does.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the bottle, they tell you when you buy it in a prescription, which comes only 1.5 milligrams, it comes in a transdermal patch. You put it like on your neck, you put it on your ear, and it helps treat motion sickness, nausea, vomiting from flying or from being on a cruise. But when you give scopolamine, like what in the doses that they're given, what makes the drug so dangerous is that it shuts down the central nervous system, which control because you have parasympathetic, sympathetic nervous
Of
system.
course.
What scopolamine does, it slows down the heart rate, it slows down the respiratory and everything to very extremely dangerous
Yeah.
levels.
It functions like an anesthetic, and then if you're not oxygenated and now your heart starts to stress, you don't have enough oxygen, your heart stressing, craving oxygen, beating faster, trying to get your lungs to respond. Then you either die due to suffocation or you die due to a heart attack.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the end result, and that could happen with alcohol. That could happen with cocaine. Mm-hmm. That can, any sort of suppressant or depressant. Mm-hmm. But like I said, it's just the story never is. I was at the mall eating McDonald's.
Right.
It always starts with, I met this girl in unusual circumstances, and mm-hmm. the end result was negative.
Right.
I was partying and I met this girl, or I was partying and it was 2 a.m. got drugged at a bar or something like that.
Right.
So like that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to party and have fun, or there's other places in the world where mm-hmm. you could party and have fun and meet women and that not be the end result. But right now, I mean, in Medellin or in Cartagena, which are kind of the hot spots for sex tourism.
Right.
People are getting got. I'm not hearing these stories come out heavily in Bogota, for example, or out of Cali.
Okay, yeah, Cali's pretty good because my last guest I had, he's in Cali, Colombia. I don't know if you've seen that. I'm gonna send that a link. There was a guy that he was scoped in Cartagena, but what was crazy about it, he wasn't at a club or anything. He actually was by the he was in Boca Grande, I think he was there. And actually he said he was sitting on a bench having a drink, just a normal day. He wasn't at a club or anything. He said a girl walked over towards him, and started speaking to him, just a friendly girl, sat right next to him. And then he said that she said, I got a friend that I want you to meet too. And then she called a friend. There was another girl that was there that she called over, and she said, like on the other side, he said, everything went blank after that, just like that. Like that. He said, only thing he remembers when
that was it. That happened where?
In Cartagena.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it's kind of that way, and I'm not sure, but mm-hmm. It's kind of obvious to spot a gringo out here, mm-hmm. just based on style, how they're dressed, and what they're doing, where they are, right? So, like I said, it's not that it's being overhyped. This is really happening. Like at first, I thought it was like just bad news.
Yeah.
To somebody close to me, I was like, nah, this is...
Yeah, it's happening a whole lot.
And
more people are dying too. More people... The reason why I'm doing these videos is that more people are dying from it. Because I've been going to Colombia for many years. I've been in Barranquilla. I've been, all over. You will hear about scopolamine, people getting drugged and things like that. I was like, okay, no big deal. But it's like the last time I was there, it's like the death rate had just like on gringos. It's like, actually what they told me in Colombia, they said it's an average of 30 foreigners are dying every month in Medellin from
on a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how bad it is. It's really bad. And that's what made me come to the theory of fentanyl, because I remember, because I've been in the medical field for about 25 years. And I dealt with heroin addicts. I dealt with them, they come in and get overdose. Come in with overdose. Most of them.
And you saw the same trend.
Yeah, I saw the trend. It's like all of a sudden people just, people just dying. It's like, God, man, all these heroin addicts, they finding these people dead everywhere. What's going on? And then when we did our research, we found out that, it was mixed with fentanyl.
And they're they're cutting fentanyl into, opioid products. They're cutting it into the amphetamines. It's almost like there's no limit on what they're cutting it into.
Let me tell you about fentanyl. Is very, very. A drop of fentanyl can kill you. It's even worse than scopolamine. If they say they didn't give you the scopolamine, they'll just give you the fentanyl. Fentanyl is very, very, very dangerous. Matter of fact, if one drop will get on your hand, it can kill you. Just a drop of fentanyl. Because I don't know if you heard about, it's like police officers, when they get called.
Yeah. Like when raids and stuff like that.
Yeah. It was one police officer just opened up a package that had fentanyl, and she actually inhaled it accidentally. Knocked on the floor. They had to give her
Narcan.
Narcan, yeah. So
it's I think, it seems to be popularized here in Colombia.
Yes.
I actually, the other day, because I live between here and Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
And I saw a news article. Yeah, man, you gotta get out of Detroit.
Yeah, I gotta get out of Detroit. You're right about that.
Yeah. Okay. But no, I saw like some guy, like I think it was like a New York tourist gets robbed for like $30,000 because he got scoped out there.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, I was like, so this is now spreading. I think it was like a stripper or something that got him. I was like, so this is now getting kind of popularized in that kind of in the sex industry in a way.
Right.
Yeah. So, it's just, I think, I don't know. I saw one person kind of blaming Cardi B because she's spoken about drugging guys or robbing guys.
Yeah, she did it. Yes.
And, she has a Latino fan base, and she was a sex worker as well. So maybe that might have kind of planted the seed or the idea in some of these women's heads. I don't know how organized these hits are, if it's just like, because when it happened to the guy that I know,
okay,
the way that they rinsed him is they were transferring money out of his bank accounts. They went to the electronics mall.
Yes.
Bought cell phones, bought electrical equipment, things that are small but expensive that they could either resell or use on themselves. They went to a liquor store and racked up on liquor. Yeah. And, this was all in the span of like a few hours.
Right.
So like they have their process and they're doing it frequently enough that, they have a system to it, but I don't know if it's really organized. Like if it's like a larger team or more of an organized gang sort of thing.
They do have those on Tinder. Usually the girls on Tinder works for an organized gang because I've heard of stories of people being scoped from a certain girl, and the cops do catch them, and they find out it's like it's like an organized group that actually do this, to have, instead of one girl, it could be 10, 15, or 20 different girls that's doing this for this organization.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, he kept going back to Tinder trying to find her, and he found her, and he was like, look at this, she's back at it. And it was like, it took like a month or so for her to resurface. And he, like we spoke about it, he was like, what do you think she did with the money? Like, why is she like,
right. Yeah.
Is she gonna improve? Like, how fast did she blow the money?
Yeah.
But then again, like that could happen with any kind of sex worker that, quick money in, just quick out, maybe he robs somebody, blows it on a vacation, comes back, and she's back at it again. Yeah.
So, what I do is, I don't know if this is I'm gonna tell you this, then I'm gonna let you go, but I appreciate your time and everything. Let me ask you a question. What I do is, when I have met girls, I usually use Facebook and Instagram. What I do is, like if there's a certain girl that I'm communicating with on Facebook, I look at her timeline, you know what I'm saying? Because usually if they're active on Facebook, they keep posting. Like I'm talking to one right now that she's on Facebook, And like every day she's constantly posting stuff, you know what I'm saying? I go down to maybe the prior week and the prior month of how many times that they're posting things. Because usually when somebody commits a crime, the first thing they do, they disappear, don't they?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So do you think Facebook or Instagram would be a reliable way to, instead of Tinder, to meet somebody? Just dab on that. You don't have to go too far.
Uh, I don't know. I think that kind of makes sense. But
Okay.
let's just say you are organized.
Uh-huh.
Why not
Okay.
have a fake profile and
Hmm.
somebody who's it's their job to keep this account active,
Okay.
and
Right.
the total identity is faked,
Hmm.
right? A complete catfish
Okay.
situation.
Okay.
And after they rob, they still are posting like, "Oh yeah, this person is still in the same neighborhood," and blah blah blah, and they're just sharing content. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's the fail safe. Um, you know, I would just encourage maybe pursuing smaller town girls,
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, meeting women in a university or a museum or something. Like, it sounds super corny, but
Yeah,
that's where normal girls are.
that's where we're going to, because what I do is like when I was in Medellin, when I was at the hotel, I usually see this, like I don't jump around and see a whole lot of different people. Usually it's the same people I've been seeing for the last 4 or 5 years that I've been
Okay.
going to Colombia, you know, so especially Medellin. And what I do is there's a mall called the Santa Fe Mall that's right across from the, because I stay at the NH Collection Hotel. It's a beautiful hotel.
Okay.
It's an El Poblado. It's a really beautiful. If I had the money, I would love to move in that area because they got some beautiful condos and stuff in that area.
Yes, it's right by Santa Fe Mall, right on Avenida Poblado.
Right, right. So what I do, I go to the jump at that Santa Fe Mall. They have a store called Jumbo's, you know, supermarket. You know,
Okay.
really big, you know, supermarket. And I usually buy my own beer. I buy my own drinks and water and everything from there. And I bring it back to the hotel. And I have everything's like in care. Like if one of the girls, even I'm gonna tell you something. Scopola meetings got to the point. Even the ones that I've known for years, I still don't. I still don't 100% trust them. You know what I'm saying? So I put everything in cans. Like I have a refrigerator. Like I have a beer. I say, "We're gonna come up. We can talk. Have a good time." I go in the refrigerator, get them a beer, hand it to them, and I get my own beer. And that's how I usually drink my,
Yeah, no, man. I just
you know, um,
that's so much effort and paranoia to have a normal relationship, man.
I know, I know, I know,
Yeah,
I know.
I would just encourage, like, you know, meeting different women in the most normal scenario possible. You know, I was
Mhm.
talking to, like, my social media team is here in my office, and
Okay,
we were talking about this interview, and
okay.
like, you know, I don't know if you should speak on this topic because it might not be good for your brand. Blah. I was like, nah, man. It's like,
Oh, okay, okay.
men are coming out
Hmm.
this place, whether it's to pay for girls or to meet women that are normal or whatever the case may be,
Hmm.
and some of
Okay.
them are dying.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
That's
That,
effed
that,
up. That shouldn't
that's
happen to
yeah.
anybody. Right?
That's what got me. What got me doing this? What I'm doing. Like I said, I wasn't
Yeah.
even going to touch these type of subjects. What really sparked my attention is when I was there in September in Medellin, 3 people died from gringos died from scopolamine. When I came back, 3 more people died from scopolamine, maybe
Yeah.
4. And then what really made me say, okay, I need to speak out, you know, kind of talk about this is when Paul Nugent died, the Asian guy. That was really sad because
Yeah.
he had just graduated from college in California. He graduated from the University of California. And when I did research on his family, they said he was a good guy, very, you know, very, I mean, you could tell that he was a really nice guy. And he wasn't actually, from what the research I did, he wasn't really out there looking for pros. He was actually meeting a girl for a date on Tinder. They supposed to met at a restaurant.
Yeah. You
And he
know,
got,
and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what it all starts with that.
yeah, yeah.
Your guard is down because
Mm-hmm.
you're thinking that you're just meeting a
Just
attractive girl to go on a
right,
date.
right,
Right?
right.
But I would say not in this environment, man. I would certainly stay off of Tinder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wouldn't pick up any streetwalkers, and I would just, you know, use the common sense rules. Like if you've never pulled a girl this attractive in your life, it's probably, you know, you got to be paying for it one way or another.
Yeah, I got a
Yeah.
snow bunny. I got a snow bunny right now that she's a Paisa, very beautiful, and that's the one I've been knowing for years. Usually me and her usually get together when I come to Medellin.
Yeah.
She usually show me a very beautiful time. I call her Susie,
Mhm.
and you have to pay, so because when she comes, she does have two boys, that she's trying to take care of. So you do end up have to give them something.
Yeah, and the thing is that that's kind of, I guess, on a final note. So it's something that's kind of hard for, because there might be American women who are going to watch this, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes,
like,
they
oh, look
are.
at that, right? So, if you want to see what kind of guy I am, you could check my channel out. See me with my fat, like I'm pretty much a square dude. So, like, when it comes to the culture here, right? The male female dynamic. Culturally, the dynamic is the man is the provider.
Yes.
And the woman's responsibility is to tend to the household, tend to the kids.
Yes.
And maintain their physical appearance. Okay?
Yeah.
And it's understood that the money comes from the man, and the nurture and the sex appeal comes from the woman. Okay? So it's not going to be uncommon for there to be like, hey babe, can you buy me this?
Yes. Yeah.
Hey babe, can we do this? And the expectation is for you to pay. And this is also from professional women. There could be professional women who are earning above average incomes here. If they go out on a date, man is paying.
Yeah.
There's not even a thought to reach for the check. Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, if a man can't help take care of you, then what is he good for?
Yeah. That's
right.
True.
But the same token is like, if a woman isn't going to maintain her looks and be accommodating to her man, what is she good for? You're not being a good woman. You don't cook for your man. This is why you can't get a man, because you're not taking care of your man properly. Like, so that it's understood that the man needs to provide and the woman needs to nurture or at least provide companionship. So for anyone who might have thought like, oh, he's got to give her money for her kids, blah, blah, blah. It's like, he would be an absolute worthless person if he was just taking, right? Because that's the way that it would be perceived.
Right.
Because whoever she had those kids with basically did that and left her with those kids.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? If I'm going to date any other man, then at least he's got to be financially stable. At least he's got to understand what time it is. And you know what I mean? It sounds pretty bizarre, but it's totally understandable.
Right. Because I sent her something for Christmas, I mean, she don't ask for a whole lot, but I sent her, maybe 250,000 pesos, for her kids for Christmas or something like that, because she shows me a very good time when I come there,
And that's $50.
Yeah, that's I mean, come on, right?
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, if it's helpful, whatever, man. It's $50, and okay. Whatever.
And she was grateful for that too. She was grateful.
Yeah, I think people just need to understand that, and as long as they kind of take the advice that I'm giving,
you give
it's
good advice.
Really
thank you for it.
Greatly reduce the probability of being victimized in that way. And if you skip Medellin for that, I don't knock you either, because if you know that your go-to tool is Tinder, and you're going to want to meet girls at a questionable bar. If that's your thing, maybe right now Medellin's not the good time.
It's not a good time. No,
go somewhere else. Wherever. Go to Vegas, I guess, because that same culture exists there.
Right. I heard they drugging people in Vegas too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's girls actually driving around and. Like you said, if a girl that's a 10 or 12 approach you, what I'm saying?
12, yeah.
It's like anything that's too good to be true. It's usually
you're about to make money either way, voluntarily or
yeah. And they use a drug called ketamine. That's
Ketamine.
another drug you gotta look out for. That's what they're
Wow.
using in Vegas. They're using ketamine. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
man.
matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you this. I'll let you go.
Mhm.
Um, there was a friend of mine, a co-worker, friend of his. They was at a bachelor party in Vegas. This happened in Vegas,
Okay.
and he met a girl at a club, beautiful, beautiful girl, and he brought her up to his apartment, to his Airbnb where he was staying. You know, he said everything was going good. They got some snacks out and everything. They wanted to say, hey, let's watch a movie. You know what I'm saying? He put on the movie, he was sitting there with her on the couch, and they had something to drink. Next, you know, he was knocked out, and she took his wallet, took his phone, took everything. This happened in Vegas, Las Vegas, not Medellin. So I don't want to think everything like I'm just attacking Medellin, because I go to Medellin all the time. I really never had any problems since I told you about that extortion situation. Matter of fact, I'm gonna send you the link to that video. I want you to
Go
see
watch that.
exactly what went down. But hey man, I really appreciate your time. And I want to set up an interview with you, the girl that was here. She said she has a lot to say about gringos.
Okay.
Okay, whatever. I'm gonna say whatever she gets. I'm gonna say because she said, "Yeah, I got a lot to say about these gringos and stuff." Because she's from Colombia too, right?
Cool.
The young lady that was here that told me to wait for you to come on the live.
Oh, Paulina?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Paulina. Yeah. I like to set up a interview with her about what she think about gringos and dating men and gringos and stuff like that. Cause she was like, man, I got a lot to say about gringos and stuff. I said,
That's
okay,
interesting. Yeah. Uh,
yeah. Okay,
she should be on the email thread. So just reach out to her if you want to talk to her directly. She speaks
okay,
English obviously fluently.
yeah.
Able to give you, an alternate perspective. Like she's a local paisa,
Okay.
born and raised here, so she sees things from her lens.
Right.
I think it'd be pretty interesting to talk to her.
Okay. Now, what, how can people reach out to you? What type of business do you do so I can let my subscribers know so we can support you? Because I would love to support what
Oh
you're doing in
man,
Medellin, man.
businesses, man, it's a lot. But so I could be found at ENTP Life,
Right.
Instagram, and on YouTube. On my
Okay.
YouTube channel, I mostly talk about living globally. So I have properties in a few different countries,
Okay.
and how to afford that. So what did I do to build up my wealth? It's mostly
Okay.
healthcare. I own home care
Okay.
agencies and nursing agencies.
Okay.
I own real estate, and I have a few other business ventures, a software company, a bunch of different things. But if
Okay.
you if you're interested in kind of learning how you could live internationally, how you could afford it,
That
how
sounds great.
to relocate and permanently
Okay.
be down in Medellin, that's the sort of stuff that I cover. We
Okay.
also are starting to offer visa assistance
Oh
for Medellin,
wow. Okay.
particularly
Okay.
for people who are looking to relocate here. But we do it through the investment program.
Okay.
So if you are someone who's thinking about relocating to Medellin or to Colombia, you're able to create a company and fund that company. And as long as you are employing Colombians, you are now eligible to get a migrant class residency visa.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
I've gone through that process. I have a company here, I have my staff here, and we're
That's
now
wonderful.
providing that service for anybody else who's thinking about relocating here on a permanent basis,
Okay.
showing you how you could structure your business, how you could fund that business, even assistance with employees and resources, whatever it is that you need, accounting services, we're set up for that.
Okay.
So for people who are thinking about making that jump, then they can reach out to me at entplife.com or
Okay.
social, and I'd be happy to help however I can.
Okay. I'm gonna make sure I put everything down in that description. And guys, make sure you support his channel. I'm gonna put the link down in the description and his YouTube channel down in the description. But I'm gonna begin back with you about relocating in Medellin, though, because I'm gonna need your assistance for that. Okay. Because
Absolutely.
because let me ask you one more thing. With my expertise and what I know as far as medicine and stuff, could I come there and get a job at one of the hospitals and be able to maintain myself as far as the income?
I don't think so. I think because what is your profession in the States?
Oh, nursing.
Nursing. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So you're an RN.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So RNs get paid like $700 a month here,
Oh, wow.
right? So if I were you, what I would do
Mm-hmm.
is I would just do like maybe half the year in the States, half the year here. So if you took a travel assignment, for example,
Okay.
right? You took a
Yeah.
travel assignment in Florida. So quick flight, it's a 3-hour flight, right?
Right. Moving
You,
forward. Okay. I
yeah,
see what you're
you,
saying. I see where
yeah,
you're going.
you mean you're getting paid 40,
Mm-hmm.
50 bucks an hour,
Mm-hmm.
work 3 months. What, you save up whatever you save up, that's enough to carry you for the other 9 down here.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I feel like if you're living here on a semi-permanent basis, $1,500 is a pretty decent lifestyle. I would say
Okay.
1,500 is like maybe $4,000, $5,000 a month budget in the United States.
Okay. Okay.
So you'll be able to pay for your apartment, your food, and your local entertainment. Maybe travel a little bit. 2,000, obviously much better.
Okay.
So if you're able to make $24,000 in a quarter, which you can totally as an RN, then you should be able to pick up and spend 9 months out of the year here.
Okay.
And afford it. And if you wanted to work like, you can work 6 13s in a row, right? Like Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, right? You're in 2 weeks, and now you're done for your tour. And you could be off for the next 14 days in Colombia, and even flying back and forth could totally be worth it. So when I come across RNs or other healthcare professionals that have that flexibility in work, I tell them, like, look, you could work half the year, save up your money, and you could live 6 months out of the country on just tourist visas and live a really awesome lifestyle, because the cost of living in so many other places is far cheaper.
Okay.
Right. So that's what I would do. I wouldn't try to work here with that. Like, I think the best ways to make money here are to export services to the United States. So like, because you're earning in US dollars and you're charging US clients.
Okay.
But trying to make it off the local economy, I wouldn't say is the best idea.
Okay, right. Okay. But that Fort Lauderdale sign, that should be a winner. Maybe I should move to Fort Lauderdale, start from there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. If you move to Fort Lauderdale, for example, the typical flight is like 250 to 300 round trip. There's daily flights from Spirit and JetBlue. Of Miami, you have the same, and you have Viva Air, and you have American Airlines flights to Medellin. So that's why I chose Fort Lauderdale, because I needed a halfway point between New York City and Medellin, Colombia, because some of my companies are in New York, some of them, well, one of them is here.
Okay.
And then I also have a home care agency in Fort Lauderdale. So it's easy for me. It's 3 hours to New York, 3 hours to Medellin. The weather is much better. The tax situation is much better in Florida.
Okay.
So it naturally fit me. And what I'm just waiting on, my wife, she's currently pursuing citizenship in the United States. So she can't be out of the country for more than 6 months.
Okay.
Or she loses her residency status.
Okay. Gotcha.
So until her citizenship clears, we're back and forth, within the parameters of the immigration laws.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
we have about another year and a half or
Okay.
so. Like, hopefully by December 2023, we could permanently relocate. And
Okay.
we're kind of like, we've settled down on 3 places. Either it's going to be Medellin, Colombia, kind of like south of Spain, like Valencia, Alicante area.
Okay.
Or
Rio de Spain is beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or Rio de Janeiro. So
Rio, yes.
yeah, Rio's nice.
Yeah.
So we have a year and a half to figure that out. But my goal is to eventually kind of emigrate out to the United States on a full-time basis. There's so much that the world has to offer, man. The US is cool. Job stability is there.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. The dollar goes far in a lot of places.
Yes.
We got some social problems, and the focus in the United States is too much on work and material things.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
In other countries, it's more on experiences and relationships.
Right, right,
right?
right,
And that's
right.
where that's what life makes life worth living. So, but it's
Yeah.
been a pleasure talking to you,
It's been
man.
a
I
pleasure
gotta
talking to
go.
you, Karl. I will definitely be in touch with you. Okay, this won't be the last. And I appreciate you for coming on the show and everything. Let me turn this off. Okay.